Most of all, keeping it real. Are you ready for real talk? Changing lives and communities. Real talk. Saving all our families. Real talk. Bringing hope for you and me. Real talk. Real talk with Judy. Real talk with Judy on the radio. Real talk with Judy. Real talk with Judy on the radio.
Well, good afternoon. I want to welcome you to the Real Talk with Judy show. We're glad to have you. Thank you once again for tuning in. And we are here at the studio, and we want to say thank you so very much for tuning in. I want to thank you for I'm also being on Facebook Live and YouTube at the Real Talk with Judy live radio show. I am Dr. Judy, your Real Talk host, and thank you for being with me today. I'm recruiting all of you as part of my marketing team. So spread the word. So spread the word and let everyone know that the Real Talk with Judy show is on right now. So I'm inviting all of you to subscribe to my YouTube channel at the Real Talk with Judy live radio show. I want to say hello to my mother. Say hello to my mother, Dr. Irma Wesley. I want to thank you so very much for being tuned in. And you are the reason I am who I am. And to my awesome and amazing husband, Superintendent Jeremiah Drell, Senior Pastor of Life Changers, Church of God in Christ. And you are the reason, he is the reason that I am doing what I get to do. So I want to say thank you. And to all of the sponsors of the Real Talk with Judy live radio show, thank you so very much for your sponsorship. I greatly appreciate you today. I want to thank you so very much. Today, to help me with the discussion for today and to move this forward, it is the Black women. Our discussion today is Black women, the backbone of the Black community. And I have four powerful, awesome women of the Black community with me today. And I want to say thank you all so very much. And right before I bring them on, I'm going to do a little prayer. And Father, we just thank you for blessing us. And thank you for your goodness and your mercy. And we want you to bless this show, bless our community as we dive into this great discussion on today. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. My first guest has accomplished much in her life, but she credits it all to the glory of God. She's a retired director of library services from Tallahassee Community College. She is known as the founder of TCC's African American History Calendar. And the calendar was named in her honor, the Cherry Hall Alexander African American History Calendar, during her retirement from the college in 2009. And the calendar just completed its 19th edition. The Cherry Hall Alexander Scholarship was established in her honor upon her retirement. And while at TCC, she revitalized the Black Student Union, served as advisor for a number of years. She also revitalized and spearheaded Black History Month activities for the college and served as a mentor and mother figure to many young people. And she still served as a mother figure for so many students, even though she is retired. Because of all of her contribution to the community and the college, her name is listed on the College Student Union Wall of Fame. She has done so much in this community. She's part of Alpha sorority. She has a bachelor's degree in library science, a master's degree in library science and English from Florida State University. But she would tell you that her greatest degree is BA. That stands for Born Again. She stated being born again has given her the ability to show love, humility, peace, and kindness. Man, she got so many accolades, so many awards in this city. And she's a member of Philadelphia. She served on the motherboard. She got so much. But she is the wife of 42 years to Deacon Lorenzo Alexander. She have two sons, Andrew and Lorenz Alexander, and Representative Ramon Jermaine Alexander, and two beautiful daughters, five grandchildren. And so I want to introduce y'all and bring her on right now, none other than Mother Cherry Alexander.
Thank you, Dr. Judy. With that
Welcome.
type of an introduction, I can just say God's blessings. Thank you.
God bless you. I am so honored to have you here with me today. Thank you so very much for being on, um, Mother Alexander. Next, my next guest hails from the Caribbean. She is the co-founder and executive pastor of Imitators of God Ministry, with her husband and founder, senior pastor, Dr. Emmanuel Williams, where she actively serves the community with a focus on restoring economic and social stability to underprivileged individuals and families. And under the auspices of this organization, she has partnered with the Torch to host the Christmas parties and giveaways for children, second harvest of the Big Ben, Farm Chair, and Piggly Wiggly. Now, if y'all ain't had no Piggly Wiggly bacon, y'all need to go over there and get you a box of that Piggly Wiggly. I just had to throw that in. That bacon from Piggly Wiggly, that's the best bacon ever. Oh, that's some good bacon. Okay, she is the founder of Redeeming Life Incorporation, a 501c3 nonprofit agency, which was established in 2018. The organization also connect with nonprofit businesses and leaders. Y'all, these women have been great in our community. They have so much to offer in our community. I want to bring to you, ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Dr. Cheryl Williams. Hello, Dr. Williams. Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself.
Thank you, Dr. Judy. I'm so glad to be here.
We're so glad. I'm so glad to have you, Dr. Williams, and we're looking forward to really getting on into here. I am so thankful that you all tune in. My next guest is the owner and president of Beyond Limits Community Development Corporation, an RS 501c3 public charities organization. This organization provides financial literacy training to low-income persons of Leon, Wakulla, Jefferson, and Gaston counties. She's integrated with the Destiny Project that teaches young girls self-respect and increased self-esteem. She's also the owner and president of Matthew 25 LLC, a local investment group. She is also a 9-year chief executive director, retiree of the Tallahassee Housing Authority, where she and her team demolished Ebony Garden Project and rebuilt a new wave of townhomes in the Frenchtown community called Good Bread Hills. Other accomplishments, she's a past mayor pro tem and councilwoman for the city of Midway, where she was one of 6 original founders who guided its unincorporated community into a governmental municipality. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Miss Claudette Cromartie.
Thank you, Dr. Judy. And thank you again for everything that you do in our community, making it strong, helping young Black and senior females to just identify and do what we do best. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. This is going to be an absolutely great show. And my final distinguished guest today, after her father's demise in 1990, she was made the manager of their family pharmacy, Economy Drugstore, which is still open in Frenchtown. It gave her pause and pride that her mother, also a pharmacist, saw in her the ability to manage the store. She's proud, and they have items that are hard to find elsewhere. Right there in Economy Drugstore over on Frenchtown, her pharmacy is her passion. She served as president of the Tallahassee Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority. She's a vestry member and lay Eucharistic minister of St. Michael and All Angel Episcopal Church, and currently president of the Tallahassee chapter of the Links Incorporated. She's proud of her heritage. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the We'll Talk with Judy live radio show, Miss Alexis Roberts McMillan.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to join you and look forward to this time with these distinguished ladies that you have here. Thank you again. This is a grand opportunity.
It is for me as well. And I thank you all so very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here. Doris Young and those of you who are coming on, I want to say thank you all so very much for being tuned in. Today is going to be absolutely fantastic. Ladies, you all are absolutely backbones to our Black community. And again, I am honored to have you here with me today. Today, we are discussing Black women, the backbone of the Black community. And I want to know, when you hear that, when you hear Black women are the backbone of the Black community, what does that mean to you, or what does that say to you? Let's start with you, Miss Alexis. Black women are the backbone of the Black community. What does that mean to you?
I have to think about my great aunt, Wealthy Cruz, who helped her husband to start a school down in Sanford. And I have to think about my mother, Geraldine Roberts, who is a pharmacist and retired from the College of Pharmacy at FAMU, who was the first graduate. There were 2 women who were graduates. I have to think about the women that I know in the community, these women that you have on this panel, who are women in the community that we have to make sure that that sinew that's in our backbone has to be steel. And we have to always look forward to how we can uplift each other and uplift the young people who come from wherever it is that they might come from, to uplift these young people so that they will want to be the backbones of this community as well. We have to do the things and say the things and act the things, walk the walk and talk the talk, and make sure that when you see me, you know who I
am. You're on mute, Dr. Judy.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Who's next?
I would just like to say,
I was just saying
this is Miss Cromartie.
This is Cheryl. When you asked the question, the first person that comes to mind was my mom. I thought about my mom, Sonia Bunch, the lady that has made me the woman that I am today. This lady have made every woman in my community the woman that they are today, simply because that she used to take in young girls that were strayed, young girls that didn't have mothers, young girls that were in college but still didn't have a place to stay. And I was wondering, well, why did mom brought all those young ladies and those young men into her house, knowing that she tried to make sure that she had an impact in the lives of those young women and those young men. And so I'm thankful. I'm also thankful that I'm looking and I'm contemplating on all those women that have made me who I am today too as well, because I've listened to their counsel, and also Dr. Judy, the people in our community in Tallahassee area, the people that have paved the way for us, the people, our forefathers, our grandparents. I'm talking about those that have instilled in us the values and the principles. And so those are the backbone. And because of them, we can look at their examples. And because of their example, we are looking in and we are saying, okay, because they have made us look on and give and instill the same values in our children. So when I look at those, and when you say the backbone of the community, I'm thinking of those strong women that have numerous jobs, but yet they still push us through to make us who we are. My mom had like 5 jobs. working in everywhere, but yet still she was a single parent, and she pushed her way through and said, those girls that she have, they are going to be a good example to the people in our neighborhood, in our community. So that's who I look at as the backbone of our community. Strong women that have made us who we are right now.
Wow, that is awesome. As you was talking, I can see in some of these cultures how you have those women with the pots on their heads and the things on their backs and
Right.
all of that. I can imagine that as the women in our community carrying us on. Go ahead, and anyone else?
I agree with everything that has been said thus far. When I think about backbone, I think about support and the support that women give each other. I think that it goes beyond even with women. I think that, we talk about it. I mentioned this before yesterday. The village mentality is that, we have to support and we have to be multitasked in what we do and how we approach different things. Support to me means that, I can put a little of myself in this situation. I can put a little of myself in that situation. And what we do is we try to make it whole. I encounter a lot of people, men, women, children, whatever, that need that guidance, that support. And what we said in reference to how we were basically raised and the people that we looked up to, I think that that's some of the things that we're missing right now in our community, is that we have leaders, but we have to basically come together as a unified force in order for that to be related to, in particularly the young women of our society right now.
Okay, Dr. Judy,
Yes.
I'd like to have some input on that because definitely Black women are the backbone of the Black community, of the Black family, and families make up the Black community. I see them not only as the support system, but as the chief support system. I see them as the chief support system of the Black community, the mainstay of the Black community. And the reason I see that is because Black women will be there and fight until the end. Everybody else may give up, but they are determined to make things work. They have a determination to fight for what's right for their children and their community as a whole. And so my mom, I've heard everybody, I think, mention mom, mom, mom. I grew up with a father and a mother, but even that, my mother still was a strong backbone to the family. She respected and honored my father from the biblical principles, but she was the one that I remember that had that strong desire to make things happen, and that she too would gather everyone else's children within the community to hang out at our home because she wanted to have an impact on their lives. Because sometimes in the other households, parenting was not as strong. So she wanted to impact not only her children, but the community as a whole. So yes, I see the Black women as the chief support system within our community. Thank you.
You're quite welcome. I would agree with that, you all, that the Black women are the chief supporters. We're the chief undergirder. We make things happen. And I used to wonder at one time, why did everybody come to our house?
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like we were the house that everybody came to. And I used to wonder why. Don't y'all mama and daddy got stuff at y'all house? But one of the things, it was like I started realizing there was a peace, there was a safety. And they knew that Irma Hunter Wesley would fight and not just for us, y'all, but the whole community. That Irma Hunter Wesley, and not only would she fight for us, she would tear other children behind up in that community. And they knew that Irma Hunter Wesley, and that we had a strong father. But one of the things I noticed too, ladies, was that my mom pushed. She pushed my dad. And if he was a friend, we never saw it. And my thought as I got older is because he knew that my mama was pushing him. What are your thoughts? She pushed him.
You know, Dr. Judy, I did not grow up with a father, but I did grow up with a stepfather.
Okay.
And one of the things that I saw my mom did was push him to go to church when she didn't want to go to church, and push us to go to church when she didn't want to go to church. My mom wasn't a Christian, and but she still pushed us to go to a Pentecostal church right down the street. And so I saw her encouragement in that aspect in my home, encouraging us spiritually that it does not matter what, but we have to go to church, and also just pushing my stepfather to be a better man. Not just staying home. I mean, he was a great provider, but even when he was home, she was encouraging him to read. Is there something that you need to read? You're sitting down. I understand that you're home, but get some. Her voice said, we all have to read. And I think that's what, that's so important. That's missing now, because the home television has become a place right now where the children right now are focused on rather than the reading aspect. But I remember my mom, the woman that would say, go read, go do something, encouraging my stepfather, encouraging us, all of us to do it. And even the children, you mentioned earlier, I think that it was Sherry that said that, where her house used to be, everybody used to come to her house. Well, that's exactly how my house used to be. I didn't even have a place to sleep because everybody used to take over the bed. And so, and Sunday dinner was something very funny as well, because it's like she was cooking for the entire neighborhood. But then they would call her the black belter as well, the black belter, because she wasn't scared to discipline anybody in the community. She would love them, care for them, but she would say, look, I am your great aunt, I am your grandmother, and I'm going to discipline you. She wasn't scared at all. And so that's what is so important that I just loved about some of our women in the community as well, where we can have extended families, which is so important. Extended families. I have seen Black women being extended families in the community, where we call them aunties, grandmas, because, back then, even now we have people use, they have free jobs, 4 jobs, but there's always a neighbor next door, that's looking out for the child when they come out from the school bus. And so, I'm just excited about those Black women, the strong Black women in our community that has made it happen. They don't have to have an education, because my mom wasn't educated, but what she instilled, the values that she instilled in those young people just made us who we are. And there are so many young people like that.
I think that society has beat down when we talk about how the women have to support, the families and the males, the husbands, the other person, whomever it is. I think society has beat them down to the point where we have to step in and we have to make them feel that they have a net worth, just like we as women. And sometimes society, and it has been happening, that they will bypass the male and they'll come to the female, and because they're intimidated by that male. And so they're trying to empower the female, and then they're leaving the male behind. And so therefore we have to go in and we have to sort of undo and do as she indicated, that we have to try to help build up our society, because it takes two. And in order to get it to where it once was, we talked about the strong family tie. I think that we have to step in and we have to do the building now that society has basically torn down.
And I would agree with you. Miss Claudette, because I believe that was a power that the Black women were able to build up our Black men. And even though they had to handle Mr. Johnny and Mr. whoever, Miss Ann, when they came home or they came to the community, there was a certain way Black women, and I remember this, and I do it now. I do it right now, but I remember us building these men up and telling them to go on. And I know now, and I know that I think this month or next month is domestic violence month, and we'll talk about that back then. But we helped them make it through some stuff. And Miss Alexis, I know with your father opening up economy drugs over there in Frenchtown, and doing some great things. I know he had to have challenges back there as a Black man, but you're a pharmacist, your mom a pharmacist, you're not the manager, she's not the owner. How did y'all help him make it through those tough spots? Because I agree with you, Miss Claudette. We're gonna have to help build our men up.
Right,
We are the backbone to this community, to the
right,
men, to the children, to the women.
right,
It's us.
right. And you got to help them to step up and to realize the net worth that they have. I mean, like back in the day, I mean, that's where guidance came from. And so what you're seeing now is the stripping. And so what you have to do now is the rebuilding.
Yes. Yes. Dr. Judy,
Yes.
I think that I am unique compared to most of the persons that I've heard. Now, my mother was definitely an encourager, a strong person that pushed all of us. And the reason I said that I'm unique, I'm the seventh child of 11 children.
Oh wow.
Nine of those children lived to adulthood. Two died during infancy. My parents, just to give you a quick background, my father had a 6th grade education, and my mother graduated through 9th grade. And that was because they lived in a small town of Monticello. And if you had to go to high school, you had to leave home to go to high school. And I think most of you know that. Again, I'm a little older than most of you that are on the panel. So they went to work to help care for the younger children. But boy, were they brilliant. That 6th grade and 9th grade education was definitely a bachelor's degree in today's time. They were very intelligent people, but the opportunity was not there, if you understand where I'm coming from. But the reason why I brought that up, even with those challenges of them not having the exposure, leaving from a small town, they were wise enough. God gave them wisdom to be able to encourage their children to do the best that they can. They both could read and write well. They both did math. I told you they had a bachelor's degree. They could understand everything we did for schoolwork. And I know my mom, I would hear often as a motivator to us, she would say to us, listen, you're going to get and go to school and get an education because you're going to get out of here and go somewhere. Those were her words to us. But they were with love, encouragement, to let us know that we could not be on her backbone all of our lives, but we must establish our own and be a role model for others. And when my last brother graduated from Florida State, because we all went on off to education, I saw her sit there and I could see her in her mind thanking God because she encouraged my father. Now, my father will probably say, okay, you all get out and go to work. My mom says, oh no, they're going to college. And they made it possible. So in other words, it does not matter the background that you come from. You can be successful no matter where you come from. If you didn't have the same opportunities as Alexis because her parents were both educated people, you can still make it. And that's what I want to encourage people to don't give up because you did not have the same opportunity, the same beginning as others. We are all God's children. And if we work hard, we can be successful. I'm a living testimony, and so are my siblings of that.
Paula,
I agree, but we have to make sure the community hears exactly what we're saying here in this little small group, because a lot of, like we indicated, a lot of the women are just beat down. A lot of them are carrying a lot of loads that, basically, they can't see an escape from. So, we have to, and maybe that's something we can talk about later on, even after the show, is getting together and formalizing some type of group where we can go out and we can start true mentoring to a lot of the females that are in our community that so desperately need our assistance.
Miss Alexis, got to unmute yourself. Unmute.
I'm fortunate.
You're on mute.
I know that instead of being in my house, the neighborhood children and the neighborhood children in the around the pharmacy would be at the pharmacy. When I grew up as a child, our pharmacy had a soda fountain. And you all know about what a soda
Yes.
fountain is, but some people, I have to explain to young people when they come in and intern with me, or when they come in and want to volunteer, what a soda fountain is. They have no earthly idea. But we would be at the soda fountain, scooping ice cream. Friends will tell me today they love to be able to come and get their prescription filled, because they knew their prize was going to be a soda or an ice cream cone that my dad would scoop himself for them. He would not have somebody else to scoop it for them. And there was a jukebox in the drugstore, so the kids from the original Lincoln High School could dance and have a good time. They could gather and just do all the things that they wanted to do. Even though J. Gaither Park Recreation Center was there in my neighborhood, near my home, I would still see some of those same people from J. Gaither at the drugstore, gathered around the soda fountain. And we enjoyed being able to see what was going on. We saw the people who were the ministers in the community, the farmers in the community, the people who did day labor in the community, coming and being able to be friends with each other, being able to know that their families were all supported by whoever and whatever they could be. That backbone, my mother was a good person who would uplift my dad in whatever it was that he wanted to do, and whatever it was that she would leave the campus, come to the drugstore, make sure that she could help out in the drugstore, do whatever she could do for me and for my sister. My brother was always, he was the person who was the jukebox guy, and he could put the music on and dance with the kids from high school. It was just a family, an extended family. It was truly the idea of the village raising the family. And we would see each other at church. We would see each other in the recreation centers. Skate. I never learned to skate, but the kids would skate over at Day Street and have a wonderful time. They would be at St. Michael in the evening on Fridays and have parties, because you couldn't go to whatever these places were that are available now and that were available then. But we had to do what our parents told us to do. Our parents lifted us up. We knew that if we weren't going to go to college, then we were going to do whatever it was to make sure that that next generation became more than what our generation was. And I think that's what I'm hearing from these other ladies, is that we know that we have come from someone who has made sure that that steel rod that we have as a backbone was not the first steel rod. It was that steel rod that came from our mothers and our fathers, from our aunts and our uncles. And we have to make sure that that continues. We have to be the backbone, which we're glad that we are. Well, it's not a new term, but my son, a 35-year-old, has told me that I now can qualify to be an auntie. And he gave this information to me because of the things that I like, the things that I do, the things that I won't do, the things that I will do. And that auntie is that person who can correct the English of that person that you hear, or make sure that you tap on the shoulder, that person who needs a tap on the shoulder if he or she is not doing the thing that he or she needs to do. That's who the new auntie is. And so I didn't know the term from him until he gave it to me just a few days ago, but it came from the periodical The Root. And it all put us, you had Aunt B on television, you had Aunt Viv on television, and there were two Aunt Vivs, I was reminded. Then you had all these different aunts on television, but now we're the aunties. So we have to make sure that we do what needs to be done while we can still carry our bag under our shoulder, our Werther's candy and peppermint in our purse.
Yes.
And make sure that we're doing what we need, say what we need to say, when we need to say it, make sure that they're listening when they
Yeah.
need to listen, and make sure that we, as I keep saying, are the steel rod that goes through our backbones.
Yeah, that is very good. I remember a time growing up and just listening to everybody. The soda fountain. Now I didn't know about the soda fountain until I went to Apalachicola. When I went to Apalachicola with my grandmother, and my granddad, and we had to walk through the alley. I'm from Fort Lauderdale, so we didn't have alleys, and I didn't know about the soda fountain and all that kind of stuff. But it was a fun time growing up. I'm from Fort Lauderdale, and one of the things I experienced, and I want you all to talk about this. It said, I mean, if we were fighting each other, or if someone was caught stealing from another person's house, or stealing a bicycle off the porch, or if you didn't have something, and y'all might be able to relate to this. If you didn't have sugar, or you didn't have eggs, or you didn't have milk, or flour, or a car, and another lady had it, everybody in the community had it.
That's right.
And not just down the street, across the street, but down the street, 10 and 11 houses down the street. Go get some butter. Go get some butter from Miss Louise. We had Miss Louise who lived on the corner, and their children would go down to Miss Louise's house and get butter. And it was good as yours. Anything we had in the community was good as yours. In your opinion, lady. And we're getting so many good comments on here. And so I want to thank you, All Smiles, Virginia Daly, our First Lady, Paula DeVos, Janae White, Mary Lambert, Deladra, and just so many people on here. I want to say thank you all for your comment. But in your opinion, where do we lose? Or do you think that we have lost the power of influence as Black women in our community? And I just showed you now, and all of those things, it was women who would go and say, go take that bike back. Take that back. Go put that up. And if the mamas or the parents didn't chastise those children, other women in the city would, or in the community would. Where do you all think, as Black women, as the backbone to our community, that we have lost that influence in our Black community?
Well, Dr. Judy, this is Cheryl. I always say that ladies, we are the secret weapon to every area in society. We are the secret weapon. What really has altered it is the policies that are in place right now. I remembered when, the lady next door used to whoop me because I didn't used to behave myself. Now we cannot even whoop somebody's child or even correct somebody's child, because if we do, then the police will be called. And so part of that have to do with the policies that are in place, right? The policies that are in place that prevents, I think, most people or most women from making that major move in terms of correction. As far as going down to the neighbor's house, we can still do that. But what happened is that we have become a society. We have become so selfish right now. Our society has become selfish. It's all about us and our families. And so that has lost because of television, and a lot of things has taken place in. But what we ladies have to do is recognize where the needs are in the community. Is there a need? What has been lost? What are the values that have been set and has lost? So we need to go back to the needs of the community, and what we need to tackle that so that it will not lose the value that once was. Because the value that once was, that's what make us talk about strong Black women in the community. There are still strong Black women in the community. However, we are not seeing them. We are not hearing of them as much. And the reason why we are not hearing of them as much, again, I'm saying that society and the policies that have been set in place. So what I would recommend is that we identify some of the ladies, and we have to encourage ladies in the community, those that have been paving the way for us, for me as a young person, person. Dr. Judy, I always say I admire you. Thank you so much for your example that you have set before me as a young person. I am young in age, but believe me, I'm always looking for someone as well to look up to, and you have demonstrated that to me as a young person. So I thank you for that. There are other young people in the community as well that are looking for those great examples. And so we cannot be scared to bring them out. When we see people that are of value in the community, we need to bring them up. We need to recognize them. We need to, just let them know how wonderful they are and encourage us, because we are not always going to be there. So recognizing the values, seeing where there's a need in the community, and understand that we ladies are secret weapon. I always say that I'm a secret weapon. The ladies in my church, we are secret weapons in our church. And, I'm going to the church and just say, 2/3 of the church is made up of women. And I mean, in prayer meeting, you will see that maybe there's like one man and 15 women in prayer meeting. Sunday morning service, you will see that, wow, we have 55 women and there's 10 men. Where are the men? So we are the secret weapon in every area of society. And so we have to understand our worth. We are worth far more than people tell us that we are valued. We are so valuable, even at the job. I am reminded of some of the little initiatives or the little things that have come in our society because of little people, and we are not even knowing about them. And so we need to recognize them, encourage them. But women, I'm telling you, we are secret weapons at the job. We are secret weapons at the church. We are secret weapons at our house. And so let's bring that back in. Let's let them know that there are still strong black women in our community, and we are not going anywhere. Really.
I would like to add and say that I think we don't really have a community anymore. You talked about, back in the day when, we could borrow from this person because they were in our community. We've been blessed where we can move into other communities and not be in the with the housing authority, and we had public housing. What we tried to do was to create a community, people that they belong, touch, and somewhat agree on different things and disagree as well. But I think that if we're not in a community, then we have to, again, go back and we have to try to recreate that wherever it is and have those persons that are integrated together to realize the importance and the importance of who they are and what they contribute to each other to make them.
Okay. You're muted. You're muted, Miss Sherry.
Just a moment.
Okay. Yeah, okay, go ahead, Miss Sherry.
Now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, have we lost the power of influence within a community? First of all, a community is not just someone that lives down the street from you.
True.
I see a community as anyone that God puts in your path that you can touch. I know we all think of the community as those living next door to us, but a community goes much further. When I was employed, the community was all of those young people that came in contact with me daily so that I could still influence their lives. I think you're following where I'm going. So definitely things have changed. There's a bigger challenge in having the influence within a community, but definitely we still have that opportunity. Now, first of all, I'm a very prayerful person. I don't do anything without praying. That's my first thing. I do everything with direction from God. So therefore, I know, first of all, in order to influence, we must have respect. We must respect ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We have gotten away from being respectful. We do anything, say anything, or we allow anything to be said in front of us. I was in Walmart one day, and these young men were just talking all kinds of profanity. And they look back to me, oh, I'm sorry, ma'am, because I looked at them in a way that I was unpleased. So again, we must first respect ourselves, and then we will earn the respect from others. Okay? And that's the key to this. And once we respect ourselves and people see you in a different light, they will flock among you, or God will lead them to you so that you can influence that community. So the community goes far beyond the people on my street, the people next door. And as it was mentioned earlier, now neighborhoods are looking very differently. It's very difficult to go borrow sugar down the street because you might meet a gun. In reality, this is true. Or you might meet other situations that are not pleasant. But you can still create your community so that we can impact lives. All of the volunteering that we do within the community, that's community. Bring those kids, those young people under your wings and influence them. So I think I was looking at it from a slightly different perspective. Yes, we still have power of influence, but we just have to be more creative in how we go about this influence. We got to sometimes go find it rather than it being next door.
Yeah, and one of the things y'all make some real good point. One of the things that Miss Cromartie said, and I want to kind of go back to that for a moment, is that, and I agree with you too, Miss Sherry, and you, Miss Cheryl, Miss Alexis. She let y'all talk. But one of the things is that we really, and I know I work to help everybody. But it's like our Black community.
Mm-hmm.
Our Black community need us.
They need us.
And I know Miss Claudette was talking about how we have the privilege now of moving away from right there. When I grew up, I think one of you all mentioned, the housing project. When I grew up, I did not live in the project, but I loved the project. And the reason why I love the project, Miss Claudette, because there was a certain family atmosphere in the project. And right now, and there was a love there. And I had it at my house, but I wanted to take it everywhere. I believe, y'all, that if our Black community need our help. It's like I can hear them crying. And the reason why I have this show is because we have some very powerful Black women in our community. And I can hear like they're crying, saying, help us. So I met with this young man the other day, and he said, we have too many of our older women. And Miss Sherry, this is this mentorship who trying to make their daughters and everybody their friend. My mama told me I was not her friend, and she did not allow me to call her friend, y'all, until I turned 52. I sent my mama one of the most prettiest Mother's Day cards to my mother and my friend. My mama waited till I got there with her and gave me that card back. She told me, I am not your friend. I am your mama. She said, because when I become your friend, then you're gonna make it start calling me Irma. My name ain't never Irma to you. I'm always your mama. And so somewhere up in there, we got to recreate this because our Black community is hurting. Our Black community, the low income, they are hurting. And some people move and you never go back and help. Tamir Brinson said here, the village was great back in the day. Many Black families were in the church. Now, this is what she said. Now, I wouldn't let the village nowhere near my child. Everybody ain't saved, and not everybody share the same belief. And somebody else put in here, text me and said, I ain't letting the village, I'm not letting this Black village touch my child. They don't even care about each other. We don't even care about each other. And y'all, so this is where we are today. So what do we see? We see in one of those housing development, most of the young girls are under 21. And the only thing they want is somebody to do their hair, pay for their weave, and pay for their nail. But if we get back in here, how can we got to get back in here and help. We got to help us. Somebody sent a note and said, white people won't let us do that. Somebody else saying black people up there now, and they think they all of that. They call us the uppity black people. And so that's what they see in the community, and that's their perspective.
Mhm.
But how can we
Exactly.
get that and help?
That's true. That's true because it's almost like the ones that have made it and the ones, of the persuasion, they pull the ones that are back there, they're pulling them up. They're helping them to get to where they are. We sometimes have a tendency to make it or fake it, whichever one you want to say. And then we sometimes don't reach back. We look back and we, have a little compassion, but then we don't really put our hands on them and try to help remold them and help them to understand how we got where we are, that just like we did it, they can do it. People used to say, oh, I like your shoe. I like this. I like that. And I used to always tell some of the residents, you can have it. You can do it.
That's
It's
right.
not that, oh, yeah, you can't do that. You got to encourage them. You got to let them know that, the walk that we walk, the talk that we talk, they can do it as well. And it just has to be a little guidance there. And we can't forget where we come from. And we
All right,
always have to.
Yeah. Well, y'all are doing good. We got just a few minutes left. Go ahead and talk. It's been an hour already. Y'all believe that? Go ahead and talk.
I can't believe it.
There are a
But,
couple of
Dr. Judy,
organizations. Hello?
go ahead.
There are a couple of organizations that I belong to that have mentoring programs. In Delta Sigma Theta, there's a GEMS program, and that's for mentoring girls. And so something is done by the women in Delta Sigma Theta to make sure that we uplift not only each other, but our daughters, our sons, and these girls. In the links, we have a program that lifts up young men, 9th through 12th grade young men, especially the 12th graders, and given the opportunity to go through a program where they're mentored and they are given the chance to be introduced to people in the community who will, primarily men, because we know that sometimes young men listen to men in a different way than they listen to the women, knowing that the women are the ones who are doing the do and doing the work. But we make sure that these young men are given the opportunity to see men in the community who are also doing things, and will give them that chance to want to lift themselves up and do something better. So we do have to mentor in organizations that we belong to, but we need to mentor in the schools. If we can only volunteer 1 hour in a school where you can see and be seen by the people who are there in the school, not just the students, but sometimes it might be some of the other people who are in the school who want to see that you want to help your community, and you can do whatever it is that you can do to help your community. So we're there, and we can be there to do what you're saying, Dr. Judy, so that we can be that person who's going to make that change. It's going to take some time, because it's taken time to get where we are.
To get where we are.
Exactly. But we got to try.
Yeah, and let me say this, ladies. You all have been absolutely fantastic. And man, this time went fast. I need like 3 hours with y'all. I need y'all for about 3 or 4 hours, and I was not gonna get it, especially with y'all on here together. This is absolutely fantastic. We're gonna do it again. But listen, this is what I want to. This is what I would like to say, and I want each one of you to take about 20 seconds to say something to our community. We have a lot of people on here, but one of the things I want to say is this: is that somehow, some way, and I know a lot of people are working in the community, but we need to go right where they are. Let's take this to Holton Street, right in their community. Some of them ain't coming wherever we are, so we're gonna have to go there. We're gonna have to go right there in those communities. Y'all take 20 seconds. 20 seconds. I'm gonna have to time it too. 20 seconds to just speak one word into to the people? Quick, 20 seconds.
This is Cheryl. Dr. Judy, I'll be very quick. I am very I heard everything what everyone said, but one of the things that inspired me quickly to do what I have to do with Redeeming Lives Incorporated. It's a nonprofit organization, but once upon a time I was a juvenile justice probation officer, and I used to go down. I used to deal specifically with the gang. So what I was saying to you is Redeeming Lives. It's a nonprofit organization. You can call me anytime. I'm willing to give free services to your child, to your community, so that we can build them up. Be blessed. You're the secret weapon in your house or in your community.
Right. 10 seconds now. My time is up.
Dr. Judy?
I have one, and I have go down. Who's
Okay.
on?
Dr.
Ms.
Judy,
Sherry?
my words are, we are definitely the backbone, and we are the bedrock of our nation. And
Bedrock. Thank you, Ms. Sherry. Yes.
Mine is just we all have challenges in our community that we basically can overcome together.
That's it. And Miss Alexis.
I'm going to follow Dr. Cromartie. We are going to make sure that we do what we can do in this community to change this community for the best.
I absolutely love it, ladies. You all have been absolutely fantastic. To all of you who are listening, these are four of the women that were chosen today. But y'all, we got some women out there. We're going to get their information. They're doing a lot of things. So many people are doing things. We're coming together as a group, and we're going to make all of this happen. We're going to save our community. We're going to touch the people where we are. No matter where you are, that's your community. That's part of your community. And then we're going into this Black community, and we're going to save them. We're going to help them. We're not going to lose any more princes and lawyers and doctors and all of those, because we are the backbone. We are the bedrock, and we're gonna get these children. We're gonna get their parents, and we're gonna do all this together and make it happen. I want to say to everybody who was listening, thank you so very much for joining in again. Dr. Cheryl Williams, Miss Claudette Cromartie, Alexis McMillan, and Miss Sherry Alexander. Thank you all so very much. And to all of you all who was tuned in, I want to thank you for listening. It was an honor and a pleasure to have you on our show today. And I promise you, it's going to get even better. Listen, ladies, join me next Monday, September 21st at 7 o'clock. And we're going to pick this up some more on the Sister Girls Fellowship. And I'll send everybody a flyer. But I want to say thank you for tuning in to the Real Talk with Judy show. And y'all tell somebody to spread the word that we're on every Tuesday at 11:30 a.m. on the one and only Hallelujah 95.3 FM and Facebook and StreamYard. This has been absolutely a pleasure. And I see all of us in the future. And we look so much better than we do right now. That's Real Talk.